get out that you now, to close a permit or to close a smoke detector sign off, they're asking for these fire escape affidavits, so the word will get out. So those are automatics that a paper reminds you every day. Do those. Number 2, in your city, put an ordinance that says, I want a tag on every fire escape. Just like every elevator has a tag in my city, I want a tag on every fire escape. I want a yellow or a red or a white. The only people that put out white is structural engineers, so you'll never put out a white, so you're never going to be giving an opinion on a fire escape. But you'll be putting out yellows and reds that basically say, it's a yellow says that what, you've inspected it, there's something wrong, or the guy doesn't have a current certificate on file. When you put out a yellow, are you making an opinion, or are you just telling the guy he doesn't have a certificate? And right on that yellow it says, contact the official, have the fire escape inspected, and service and certified. Is it pretty clear? Are you making an opinion on that fire escape?
No.
And then if you get there though and you see a dangling tread, the thing pulling away from the building, can you put a red one on it? Are you inspecting it in any way again?
No.
You're just writing a violation, but it says on the back, contact the official, have the fire escape inspected, service and certified. You're going to write a violation. Is the guy going to go by the tag on his building, which you may or may not have that day, or is he going to go by the violation that you just wrote from the city? And you write the violation as always. What's the 3 words you use? Is your time now? What's the word?
Repair.
No, you use that ugly word again. Repair, paint, test. That's all you write. Repair, paint, test. Let them come in. What do you mean by repair? Have a professional evaluation, have that guy contact me, and from that we'll determine what the next step is going to be. Okay? So these tags are very good. The confidence test. You have a copy of the confidence test there. You don't like this one? You can go right to Seattle.org, go to fire prevention, go into their confidence testing, and there's a smoke detector. Sprinklers and alarms. There's all these forms they have there, and they have a fire escape confidence test. Download it. It's in Word, and it's in PDF mode. And if you know how to work the magic, you can just go in and change your name on it. You know, there's a place for you to change your name on the top of the test. But we did this for Framingham. I don't know if this got both pages. I think I grabbed 2 of the wrong ones down. But basically, the confidence test, you can just put your own name on there. Now you have a confidence test that's a national standard. Somebody else is using. Their law department already went through it. So if it's on the internet, so it's an industry standard. If you try to put mine in, you're gonna have to the law. What did you say? What's your period? They already did it. Tacoma already did it. So you don't like? I prefer Seattle's over Tacoma's. They ask better questions. Question in the back. Yes.
Yeah, where'd you say you can get the PDF of this so we can work with it?
Yeah, go to Seattle.org.
Oh, Seattle.org. Okay.
Then you go to fire prevention, or you just give me your card. Like I said, we do this for free. We can send you the PDFs for because we made this one wording specific to Massachusetts. So we'll give you this. We'll do it for you. We'll just put your name on the top and send it off to you, and then you can keep it on file and use it as an industry standard form. You can put it on information bulletins. And again, if you do this as an ordinance, I'll tell you, when you start changing state laws, so we're doing that now in Portland, Oregon, it's an uphill battle to change it at the state level because the wording has to be so vague and so gray. But you know what you do if you do a local ordinance? And you say in your local ordinance that you want a tag on your fire escape, similar to industry standards. Okay?
Yeah. No disrespect intended, but I would recommend that you never try to do it by an ordinance. Because Mass General Law basically says the Board of Building Regulations sets out these uniform standards. But it would be really easy. Instead of an ordinance, it's even easier. Because all they have to do, they have the right to have departmental procedures, written departmental procedures. This is just a written departmental procedure. For all of these under Section 101.3.2, we're going to handle it in the following way. So they don't need approval of their Board of Selectmen or their town meeting.
I learn something every day. Please.
All they have to do is building department procedure. This is within Massachusetts. Because of the way our state law is written. They cannot do it by bylaw and ordinance. But departmental procedure, piece of cake.
Could I, and after this, if I can get your information, and you can help me write that, I'll make that as a blast out to all of you guys, because in other states, they're doing it as, they do the ordinance.
Different laws.
I know.
Here it's unique to us.
Thank you for...
We cannot do it by ordinance or bylaw.
Thank you.
Not a problem.
So right now, he just gave me an even faster version for just Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Other states, they do it with an ordinance. Other states, it's actually the fire department might do an administrative rule change. How? I don't know, but I'll put you to the people that have done it. But this is the first time in all the classes that I've done in Massachusetts, and I've done this for 5 years, and somebody came in and said, can't do that.
I didn't
So I'm
know
not a
that.
lawyer, but thank you very much, because you just made this a fast track for this that basically says, this is how your city wants it done. It's sort of like an information bulletin, right? This is the kind of the standard that we're following. I want this or better. Really? Isn't that really like the way you say it?
Pretty much.
Follow industry standards or better, which still puts the responsibility back to the inspector to convince you that he's doing the right thing. So, this is the quickie. So I'll work with him to basically make sure we write it out correctly and how it's done, and then we'll pass that on. But what's that called?
It's a departmental procedure, written departmental procedure.
Written departmental procedure.
So it's uniformly and evenly done within your department.
So similar to an informational bulletin that says,
Yeah.
here's some industry standard guidelines that we use as a guide. Follow them or better. Got it? So we can provide that to you. And by the way, any and all this information, we're going to clean our name out of it so that it becomes a generic standard for when you get the book. Just a generic standard, okay? All right, so right now, because I was in that room with those 8 pointy lawyers with their pointy fingers, you write a violation in your city, I will write you this letter. And my first letter says very clear, do you want a visual fire escape confidence test? And you're going to get all these papers with it, which is the stuff I sent you there. My confidence test, my credentials, my photographs, some repair guidelines, my EPA thing, plus my tags. Oh, by the way, it says right there, very clear, you will let me write disclaimers because you're asking me to put a Band-Aid on it. And I found 3 treads that are bad. I've got others that I'm concerned about, but those others are going to turn this job from a $2,000 repair to a $20,000 repair. But I want disclaimers that says you and the owner can share any liability because it's a visual inspection. That's what we've been doing for 75 years. You've been doing and accepting visual inspections. Okay? To the best of my information, knowledge, and belief. Any wiggle room there? The fire escape is in conformity with the building code. And down below I always put anything I didn't see, anything I don't know about, anything you didn't ask me to go looking for or verify because you haven't done it to anybody else before me. You didn't make me go looking in the walls. You didn't make me verify the wells. Neither has the other 60, 100, 200 inspections you have on file. You've never made anybody else go above and beyond. So because you set the standard, you guys have set a standard that basically allows you to be accepting these pieces of paper, these visual opinions, you've allowed a standard. So that helps by you setting up a standard and saying, hey, I have a standard here. And now with this document that you actually have in your records, now there's a standard. And you've kept it within. So I hope you can help me out on that. That's going to be a very good one. Otherwise, let's talk about a level 2. The level 2, which is a calculated load test, I do everything that I did in the level 1, but I go looking for trouble in a level 2. I go looking to make sure that the connections into the walls are either verified or nullified or duplicated. Does that satisfy you? I will verify every unknown connection into a wall. I will verify it visually with photographs.
Okay, thank you.
I will nullify it or I'll duplicate it. Will that satisfy you? On a level 2? Every well that I see, if there's not in the jacket when that thing was built, a cert from a welding guy, which there never is, and the weld looks spectacular, just like that weld in Chicago looked spectacular when I inspected that fire escape. Guess where it rotted? It rotted from the inside out. Guess what caused it to, it didn't fall, It was broken. It was broken off. From repeated hitting and twisting and twisting. What do you think happens to welds when you constantly torque welds? You take the same connection, you put bolts in it, and you do the same thing, that bolt will outlast that weld a million years. But welds snap. Welds don't stretch. Bolts stretch. You can take a welded connection next to a bolted connection, And that bolt will hold that for a while. It'll even stretch the bolt for a while. It'll give you so much indication that this thing's about ready to go. It'll, short of yelling your name, the bolt, it will give you 5, 10, 15 years of head notice. The weld gives you no notice. They hold forever, but when they let go like that. Everybody agree or disagree? Right? So, with that being said, I will verify the only two unknowns, and that is in the wall where I can't see it, and welds that are there in my face, but, this thing's 25 to 50 years old. That's a calculated load. And by the way, if there's anything that I look at it, and I got, skinnier metal or skinnier anything else, my engineer has to reverse engineer it and do calculations and provide a calculated sheet that says, the norm is 2 by 2 angle by quarter. I've got inch and a quarter by 3/8 angle on this thing. So I've had my engineer confirm it, that in actuality, it does meet the 100 pounds per square foot. Will that satisfy you? When you have a fire escape that's kind of not looking like a traditional one, will that further enhance and further prove to you that this fire escape has been certified? Okay. And if I can't convince you, what do you got in your back pocket? What's the trump card you pull out of your back pocket?
Load test it.
Load test it. You're going to get somebody that's going to give you $1 million. They're just going to, you're crazy, and you're just trying to generate money. Speaking of money, $5,000 problem, $25,000 problem, little old lady, foreclosures, no money, rents, you name it. Floods, got no money, and I got a fire escape that's bad. Okay? And let's say it's a $25,000 problem, the guy doesn't have it. Will you allow me to put in a Band-Aid in here to help you guys buy some time until the economy changes and this person either buys or sells the building or the banks finally take it over or whatever? So I've got a fire escape that's just a yellow, not even a red, it's a yellow. And there's no money from the bank or from the owner or from anybody. Can we immediately rent some scaffolding and use the scaffolding now as your means of egress? Yes or no? So there's $1,000. So anybody giving you a noise about my house, my kids, my this, my that, can you say, well then, until we get this matter resolved, have a scaffolding company here and immediately stage some scaffolding in here to get the people out of this building? Will that work? Do you remove the violation because of it? Nope. You suspend the violation and you're just sort of now working with a client 30, 60, 90, and months. You can just keep going because the scaffolding has done its job. Okay, number 2, we got a $25,000 repair on a fire escape. But the guy who did the work there, or was going to do the work, says, I can do an emergency repair. Now let me tell you what an emergency repair is. I take a tread that's got 1/2 inch of rust. I got 4 bolts. I just go there and I either cut those 4 bolts out, I don't remove the rust. And I put 4 new bolts in that tread. And that could be a gusset, a tread, a support, a rail. So the rust stays, but I change the bolt out. I basically triage in the battlefield. Can I get you to basically use an emergency repair to make it functional until such time that money and or time allows that thing to be certified, to be used with you, not to remove your violation, but to buy some time for the client if they immediately institute what we call functionality repair? Okay? Does that remove the violation? Can you move on that guy anytime you want? You can give him 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And as long as that guy keeps moving on that, you guys are holding the violation. Now, what you're going to get with the vendor is a disclaimer that says, I assume no responsibility. Even though I fixed that thing with a Band-Aid, I have no responsibility. Who owns all the responsibility while that thing is under an emergency repair order? Owner. You will have documents that say, owner, we're letting this happen, but you're assuming any and all liability. Vendor, you're not taking. You just fixed what we think is going to be the best thing you created, but again, the owner has a disclaimer that he's not going to hold the vendor. You got a violation that's still in violation, so we just initiated an emergency repair order, and it costs $5,000 instead of $25,000. A lot of time when the work is done, the $5,000 goes towards the job anyway. But how many of you think a vendor will self-finance that $25,000 job to that owner and drag that thing out in repairs for the next 3, 6, 12 months? Sure they will. Vendors nowadays, they're hurting. They will self-finance that job. They will work with the client and work with you and fix that fire escape over time because the client gets his money on a monthly basis from rent, and that guy will get $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 a month, and that guy, the vendor, because you already did the emergency repair order, is now fixing it slowly, and if it takes 6 months, and you're watching, it's under permit, there's an engineer oversight, will you allow that to happen? And if there's self-financing going on between the owner and the vendor, do you care? So, but that does, in this economic time, doesn't that allow the fire escape to be repaired over a period of time? And if there's any question about safety, does the scaffolding or the emergency repair take care of that for you? And only when it's in a white certificate are you going to remove the violation anyway. So are you carrying any liability for the next 6 months while this thing has either got scaffolding or emergency repair being done to it over the next 6 months? Because that's what it says on the back of these tags. If you read yellow, that's why there's a front and a rear. When you read the rear of the tag, fire escape is to be used for emergency evacuation only, and owner assumes all responsibility and liability during and until the fire escape passes confidence test. It's right on the tag. Does that help? 75 years that we've been ignoring things. We're not going to fix this overnight. Not with a lot of money, and nobody's got any. So remember, even though it's got $25,000 repair bill, you can fix it for $5,000 to make it functional. Certification, can it be done without engineer oversight? No. I'll tell you, man, we're sneaking in on, what's the average cost of a paint permit again? Anybody want to?
There is one paint permit.
Because I'm going to be working in your city with a paint permit. What's the average cost of that? Right? I know you guys give those even when you're closed, right? Because I go by the front door of your city hall and get those paint permits all the time.
Really?
On my way to that
In
job.
Massachusetts?
Really? In Massachusetts?
No
In
way.
every city? Really?
We don't have paint permits.
I don't think you got it. Did everybody else get the joke there? We've been illegally working without any permits because people are hiding under that. I don't need a permit because I'm painting.
Right.
So this is just a blatant abuse by vendors. Why? One of them. Everybody's done it. So if all of a sudden I'm the only one that wants to go pay a fee for repairs, and nobody else does it. Nobody else is being watched. Am I going to do the right thing if I got a permit, or am I going to do the wrong thing if I got no permit?
We know.
And what happens in the permit process, if you're not going to check the work, you got a lot of landscapers, electricians, you name it, fixing fire escapes out there. Because they get the job for $3,000 that should be $13,000. They go to Home Depot and buy paint and silicone. And you somehow get the certificate. Because when you call the structural engineer, before or after to send you a certificate? The repairs. After. So now you got these poor engineers getting paid $300 to $500 to show up at a job site that's fully painted. Magically, all the holes are hidden. All the rust is hidden under silicone. And everything's welded, and the guy's there for $300 to $500 to say what? It says, to the best of my information, knowledge, and belief, this fire escape is in conformity. Here, looks good. There you go. Give me my $300. Take it. Go. Boom. You get the thing. You throw in the file. Somebody falls off the fire escape later. The guy goes, "Oh, you're getting sued because the fire." We're talking about that day. There was nothing wrong with the fire escape. When did the accident happen? Oh, like a year and a half later. Oh, I got it. I'm not held liable. My disclaimer at the bottom says that day it was perfect. They didn't ask me that day and plus a year and a half later. That's what my disclaimer says. And by the way, what broke? Oh, this hidden piece in the wall. Oh, I didn't inspect that. As a matter of fact, I wasn't even there when the repairs were being done. There was no oversight on my part, so I hold no responsibility. I was asked for an opinion that day, and I stated my opinion that day, that to the best of my information, knowledge, and belief, it looks good. And it hasn't been kept painted. That's all I gave. It cost me $300. Engineer oversight, 3 visits, 3 to 5 visits minimum. 3 visits. Initial visit when the vendor is breaking things apart. A mid-visit when he's halfway through and just to confirm that all the work is being done. And a final visit when all the work is all done prior to a paint job. That's called engineer oversight. So you're only going to be allowing 2 types of certifications. Give me a load test. Give me oversight. Will that make you happy? Certification to you always means oversight. Somebody's going to give you a report. Let's take an example of a typical report. Now, everybody uses digital cameras. You want pictures. It doesn't have to be pretty and wrapped up in all kinds of, you need a photograph of the problem. You need the engineer to call you and say, here's the report. And a lot of times you want them digital, don't you? You want the report sent to you digitally so you can save them digitally. because you're starting to like not save paper anymore. You guys have the rule, what, 3 years, 7 years, you got to hold paper?
So, well, for some of this, forever.
So if we send this to you digitally, as well as a hard copy, can you throw the hard copy away if we send you a digital copy of this already? So here's a report with a checklist of what's wrong. Here's the photographs of the typical problems. Here's the repair guidelines that we're going to be using. And here's the typical problems of whatever we're working with, whether the cantilever or whatever. So we use diagrams, repair guidelines, photographs to talk to you only, because guess what the owner wants me to do? The maximum or the minimum? So should I even be speaking with the owner? So immediately upon inspection, the owner must be given 2 prices. This is when they know that things are serious. We inspect the fire escape for small fee. 89 to 189, 189 to 49 for most residential. Most large commercial is 489 to 989. But that's the level 1 inspection, isn't it? You get all these beautiful pictures. We also do a walkthrough with a video camera. We speak about what's wrong as well as how to fix it. But then we immediately give the client 2 more prices before we even quote any repairs. We give them an oversight fee for 3 visits, and then we give them a load test fee. So we may speak to somebody on a residential and say, hey, your oversight fee is $989. Your load test fee is $3,900. Immediately like, what's this? What's this? I say, speak with your inspector, and you don't have to use us, but your inspector, with my letter, says he wants it to meet a level 2. And in order for me to achieve a level 2, there has to be oversight. You don't have to use us. Speak with your inspector. Whoever you're going to use, whatever engineer you want, you're going to find, must call your inspector and just give them the inspection criteria. If they don't have inspection criteria, can they just copy our inspection criteria? Is it pretty just standard criteria? It's just basically oversight, isn't it? So you want oversight or a load test of the repairs. You just don't want vendors working on check. And that's why vendors must pull a permit, because when they pull a permit, if it's a $10,000 job, $3,000 of it is paint, how much is the permit for? 10,000 or 7? 7. A lot of these guys don't know that they can break out the paint and save a few bucks, but not much. But it's a $7,000 permit. So now who else is watching that guy to make sure he's licensed, insured, and who has the final walkthrough after everybody else has checked everything out first? You're not the final walkthrough anymore. What are you walking there to do? To close the permit. And get a copy of what? The affidavit. Isn't that what you originally violated him for? So the day you go there to sign off the permit, what's he giving you? Confidence test. That you got from who? From the structural engineer. Who signed off on that when? A week ago. Full circle. Because we got a lot of people. There's no sheriff in town, man. Nationwide, not just here. Inspectors are writing scraping paints. Engineers are writing opinion tests. Vendors are working under the beautiful paint permits. Man, it's been the wild, wild west for 75 plus years. It's the reality. Questions so far? We're at the end of our thing. Usually I can go out, and if I have my connection today, I'll show you a couple of downtown inspections. I'll show you one. I'll just take you briefly to Fire Safe Academy. We're pretty much done. I'll open up to questions. And again, if anybody wants copies of this stuff, give me your cards. Or with Paul, just get Paul, give me, I'll get it to Paul, Paul can get it to you. But if you want it to be direct conversations, we can. This is a load test in action using cable. Okay. 7,000-pound truck. You need to lift 3,000 pounds. It's a cable. Go on 10 stories, 1 floor at a time. Digital readout. Load cells. You know what a pass looks like, right? You guys know what a fail looks like? Try to tell that to the owner you got to put his fire escape back because you broke it. And it breaks because of this stuff. It breaks because it's hidden. But what did we have to do? This is what we have to do on that LA job before we could load test it. We have to drill all these crazy holes. And that's what the thing looks like, the snake going down the hole. now you need to be an interpreter as to, and sometimes the 3/4 is not enough. You got to do 2 3/4 side by side, right? And then I got to repack it. If I just did a 5 inches away, I put an epoxy bolt there, and I duplicated the connection, I'd be in and out of there faster, wouldn't I? Then I have to go through all these crazy little verification processes. This is what it looks like inside. What is it? I don't know what it is. I'm just photographing it for what reason? Because, you really can't. So, why don't we just let sleeping dogs lie and put an epoxy bolt 5 inches away, or if it's faster, put an angle underneath the whole platform and basically unify all the connections and put a bolt every 3 feet. Make sense to you guys? Satisfy your desires? 50, 75 plus building? That's what it looks like inside, man. There you go. Is that good? Is that not good? Where's the engineer? Confidence tests. We love that Tacoma, the yearly walkthrough. We love that. Highly recommended. This is City of Boston. This is all it says right there. To the best of my information, knowledge, and belief. And the egress components are in conformity with the provisions of the Massachusetts Building Code 1028.3, which is now 101.3. That's all Boston wants. I see this form right here. I added those little check boxes. They don't even want those check boxes in there. This is the only confidence test in Massachusetts, is a Boston one. Any room for wiggle? Disclaimers? Right? To the best of my information, knowledge, and belief. That's an opinion. Got it? Lots of wiggle room. I can wiggle out of this one. This is right here, and again, this is a letter that we wrote, basically explaining the procedures to the vendor of what he has to do. If you take out a logo off the top, is this pretty much just, what do you call that thing?
Well, it's a departmental procedure.
Departmental procedure. So I have to make up one of these, call it departmental procedure of the city of, and we're done, right? And if you guys accept it, you throw it into your little, informational bulletin stuff, right? You can check it out. It's just procedure, ready? It's very complex how to fix a rusted connection, ready? Remove the bolt, open the connection, remove the rust, prime the connection, put it back together, apply a new bolt, if possible, inject it with silicone and seal it, encapsulate it. That's the extent of the whole repair guidelines. You would apply that system, which I pulled out of an engineering book. So is it my system or is it an engineer guideline, engineer standard for repair? What am I giving you? My guidelines or engineer standards out of books?
Engineer standards.
Right? So if people say, where'd you get this? Engineers. So anything else is unacceptable by a structural engineer. So, and then you apply that to every tread, every gusset, every support, every rail, every trap, anything that's on the fire escape. Because that's all I care about, fire escapes. So we'll give you this. Visit our website. We have a lot of stuff on the website. This is the repair guidelines. Okay. All clip angle connections on each tread must be 100% free of rust before rebolting. All top bolts must be 100% free of rust, right? Support. All connections to support must be 100% rust free before rebolting. All gussets must have a minimum rail. All connections to the rail must be 100% free of rust before rebolting. I think it gets pretty clear. There's not really... So we'll give you that... We did this with it. This is similar to what you just asked. We did this with the City of Boston. We submitted it. It doesn't mean that they took it, but I think this is what you're talking about. This would be acceptable to...
I have to read it.
Well, I mean, it's just guidelines.
Yeah.
I meant, we just basically took guidelines. Our name is not anywhere in here, and we just basically created a fire escape repair procedure. Is that what you're saying?
Kind of. It's that the department has to set out a procedure that says, number one, that they are going to be requiring, which they have to the 5-year test. But it's really about setting it out that it's going to be, the oversight's going to be by a registered professional architect or engineer. And then how individually they want to do it.
No, this is not inspection. This is repair. This is for the vendors, how to fix a connection.
Right, and I'm not recommending they necessarily give out repair procedures because the repair procedure is supposed to come from the engineer and architect, not necessarily from the building department. But the building department spells out their departmental procedure is how to handle the violation notice or the red, yellow, white ticketing kind of thing, not ticketing, that type of attachment to the stairwell. That would be their procedure.
So are you telling me, if I may, so that these tags can be incorporated into this departmental procedure?
That would be the departmental procedure.
So you can just say, I want this, and the
Yeah.
departmental procedure already makes every fire escape now in their city needs a tag.
Well, basically,
The confidence test too?
you would. I'd have to look more into that. I mean, this is quick. It's the first time I've looked at
Yeah.
what you're saying. Some of your language, I think, would have to be adjusted
Of course.
for the Commonwealth, but the basic ideas are the same. But they certainly, through departmental procedure, can say that they are going to start applying these tags based on this requirement in 10.1.3, so that it acknowledges, the status of it as a walk-by, and so they can implement that procedure through a departmental procedure.
So
I don't think they should recommend repair procedures, because that really is under the auspices of the engineer.
Right, but we can soften it up by calling it repair guidelines as suggested by engineering standards.
Or, again, we want to look at the language of the way it's written before.
Right, and you just have to wing it back to say minimum standards as directed by structural engineer, or these standards with U.S. standards, by the...
Yeah, I mean, there's ways you can tie it in, but I would be hesitant to utilize just the exact language you've got. But it's not that I've just...
Right, you just take a peek at it, right.
Format.
So you guys see that? It's actually easier in Massachusetts. We'll work, and again, everything's a slow process, but he just made it very simple. There's no ordinances needed now. It's a departmental procedure for inspections, departmental procedure for repairs and tagging, right? I mean, for inspections and tagging and repairs for the vendors. So you're going to have a departmental procedure for vendors and permitting, for inspections and certification, and load testing.
And part of our code requires periodic inspections on certain types of uses, like hotels, motels, dormitories, hospitals, jails, and all that. So what we've been doing at the state for a long time is when we send our notification that we're coming, we give them a checklist. We want to see their fire alarm reports annual, their sprinkler report annual. We've added that we want to see their 5-year certification on all the exterior stairways, bridges, and fire escape, because this doesn't just... Again, it's not about steel fire escapes only. It's
right.
You can use the same ideas and stuff he's talking about, and it's really applicable to the exterior wooden stairways, the exterior wooden fire escapes, everything. It's applicable to all of it. So we ask for that documentation up front, or we don't issue the certification at the state level. And that means I've been to a number of different private schools and whatnot that happen to have clinics, so they're DPH licensed, and we have to go do this. And generally, whenever that happens and there's a problem with it, I usually notify the local inspectors, because you guys are the ones that are going to order the permit to be done. So I usually don't order that. I just say, give me the certificate. If they don't do it, I get hold of the local and say, you guys got to step in and get the certificate. And I keep it on file until the next time I go. I go every 2 years. So I keep track of that in a tickler file to make sure I know when they need a new certificate.
What's your first name?
Are we still on TV? No. Gordon.
Gordon. I'll be working closely with him, because I'll hound him until he kicks me away, but I'll work very closely with him. He's giving me a lot of valuable information today, and I know you guys don't got a lot of time, but as soon as he and I work, I'll push that back through Paul.
I have his home phone number.
Number 2, there is a class. We're going to start looking at the code, so you tell me whether or not these things need to be inspected, but this one's an oddball. This is a dinosaur. Ready? And we're almost at the end of the class right now. This is the dinosaur. Who's ever seen a slidescape ever in their lives? This is a 12-story slidescape in Elizabeth, New Jersey. The slide, this thing is right there. And then when you come down, it shoots at a 45, and you shoot down this set on your ass with your feet out, and you hit this door, this metal door on a paddle, and the door opens, and you go out into the street.
Sure.
Okay, that's all. This is us on the roof of this building. There's a fire department. They've never gone this thing ever. And this is what it looks like. You either dive into this thing head first, and this is the second means of egress. Now, one of the firemen said that his grandfather used to be the guy that worked in the building, the maintenance guy. And the kids in the local parochial schools used to break into this. And one of the things that got you points in the school was that if you can sneak in the building and go down this slide and talk about it. So to stop the kids from doing that, they started putting, back in the day, it was heated by coal, so they put coal dust down. So the way you stopped and started catching kids as whether or not they've been in your building is look for a kid that was wearing a white suit and pants or white shirt and pants, and basically coming down, he was full of soot because of the slide. So this is the only slidescape I've ever seen in the country. It's 12 stories, still active today. This is what a tag looks like, 7 to 10 feet off the ground. When you walk by, permanently affixed to the fire escape or on the wall. Nail it to the wall or affix it to the fire escape.
Thanks for the party, guys.
Excuse me? Okay, so confidence tests, credentials, reports. These are all things that you're going to get samples of. So whenever you write repair paint test violation, and they said, what's the word repair means? It says, go have it inspected and have your inspector call me. I need his credentials. Because if there's repairs here, is there going to be oversight? Well, you need to qualify him. The law says structural engineers and or others acceptable to the building official. Will you allow an architect to inspect this for you?
Yeah. No, I would.
If he shows you the documentation that he knows how to do fire escape, he provides you and sits with you and gives you everything he does, because that's one of his specialties, will you allow him? You understand? That's what's meant. That's what it means. I got structural engineers that don't know their ass from their elbow. And yet you accept them the way, just because they have. And they don't care. They're doing drive-by flybys. So does a structural engineer need to qualify with you?
Not with us, no.
But I'm asking, if you're saying you did a repair paint test, are you asking to speak with this inspector? And when you get this inspector, that writes you a one-page, no photographs, no nothing. To the best of my information, knowledge, and belief, you're going to accept that from a structural engineer, licensed for 28 years in the city, in the state of Massachusetts? You're going to accept those anymore?
No.
You're going to have a fight in your hand, right? So you got to be. What are you looking for? He has to satisfy you before. Otherwise, what are you going to order on that job? What's your ace in the hole? Flow test. So let them do their oversight. Their oversight means that they have to, and it says right here, right on the confidence test, when you read it, it says he must mark all the violations or provide a document of where every violation is. What's faster for an engineer? To draw the whole fire escape and every bolt that he has to change with, does he walk around with a $2 spray can of white paint and just go psst, 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 psst. Obviously everything he can reach, but whatever he can't reach, he has to note. So photograph everything, mark everything, speak with you about it. Is that a qualified individual doing proper oversight for a certification? If there's no oversight, and you get a report, but then there's no oversight in the middle, some vendor gets at it, and then there's an inspection at the end. Who do you think usually inspects at the end? Same guy or a different guy?
Who knows?
What would I do as an owner? Same guy that knows this fire escape intimately, or a guy that doesn't know what it looks like, and after it's been painted in silicone, who do I want at the end? Same guy or a different guy? Different guy. Remember that. Whereas if it's being certified, same guy's got to be on the same ticket. So if they don't like the first guy that gave the report to you and it's got a lot of problems, and then they kick you off, they kick the first guy out, what do you need to do with the second guy? Go through the same procedures? Does that guy have to do an inspection and a report to you? Because it's an engineer oversight, right? This is what we're trying to avoid. Does this ever look like it's the landlord falling down? Is it ever the building inspector falling down at this day?
It's possible.
It's possible, here and there. From now, because of this training, you ever going to get on a fire escape again? Or can you do everything from down below? You're looking for original hardware, no evidence of maintenance, rusty fire escapes. You got enough for a violation?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see those things out a window and down from the ground floor?
You can open the door on every floor and just...
You can open the doors and you can do this. This is how you do a violation on a fire escape. You just look. This is us training all kinds of guys. This is what a fire escape is really needed. Is this a fire escape? I'm sorry. I'm going to use today's code, ready? Is this an exterior steel wooden stair? Is this an exterior steel wooden stair? Are these exterior steel wooden stairs? Are these exterior steel wooden stairs or balconies? Are these balconies? How many motels have those long balconies with stairs that never get inspected? So, does the code cover every motel? All all exterior steel or wooden stairs and balconies. We're never going to mention fire escapes again. Is this an exterior steel or wooden stair or balcony?
Yep.
How about the parking lots, the parking garages? Are those exterior steel or wooden stairs or even cement? And do those need to be inspected? Are those totally enclosed or are they subject to rain and snow? They get into them all the time. Is this an exterior steel or wooden stair? Is this an exterior steel or wooden stair? We're going to be inspecting decks now under 101.3. Is this an exterior steel or wooden stair or a balcony? Subject to 101. How about catwalks? Is this a bridge? Isn't that right in your code? All bridges. Isn't a catwalk a sort of a bridge? An elevated bridge?
Exterior.
Exterior bridge? Does it need to be inspected?
Yeah.
Metal, cement, or steel? Wood? Does it need to be inspected? Is it a bridge, exterior steel or wooden stair, or balcony? We're not talking about fire escapes anymore. How about machinery and silos and stuff that have ladders and those need to be inspected under this code? I would think so. How about skyways? Those are two specific skyways. One in Chelsea Hills at the Soldiers' Home. Is that covered by the state? Does the state inspect that? This is one we inspected for Bentley College. Does the state inspect that? Who inspects those? Or is that a bridge?
Well, yeah, it's on state property, the state inspector does.
Of course, that I know.
Municipal,
Yeah.
it's not.
This catwalk is owned by Bentley College. This is on Soldiers Field, the Soldiers' Home. Bars, is this exterior steel wooden stairs? Balconies? Any advice on that one? How about this? How many people have the Home Depot ladder nailed to the wall? Don't laugh, they're out there. Remember this, the only thing missing on this is a balcony in order for this to get legal, because you need to get to the ladder. You can't step out.
You can't do
But-
it through a window either.
Excuse me?
You can't do it through a window, anything new,
Oh, anything new, yes.
You can't,
But
I
now,
wouldn't see this now.
this is how you get rid of this. This is a 2.5 family, now a 3 family, legal or not, and you go through that whole thing about the taxes and 3 meters and all that stuff, and you have parking requirements, right? And they've got tenants already in there, and you're like, okay, how do you get them to put in a full-fledged fire escape? Because they're going to claim the grandfather in with that ladder that their grandpa threw in, 25 years ago.
No, they're not.
How do you get around it?
You just cite them that they're in non-compliance with the maintenance section of 101.
But how do you, because they're going to fight a little bit, how do you make sure that you can win and they're going to put in a full-fledged fire escape there? How do you do it? You go back to the permit process to see if there's a permit pulled for that ladder to install. If there isn't one, what do you got? A new fire escape system needs to be done. Most likely that window needs to become a door. They can still go for their 3-family because maybe they have all the zoning and everything. You're not stopping them from being a 3-family. You're just saying you're not going to grandfather this ladder in there because you go back to the jacket. If there's no permit to install that ladder, do they have a second means of egress legal?
Yeah.
So remember that. Go back to the jacket. If it's not in the jacket, anything that's illegal as far as the second means of egress can be corrected today so that they don't squeeze in with a ladder. And a lot of guys have ladders squeezed in because their friend Billy Bob the welder put in a ladder escape. Okay? So if it kind of looks shaky, it's because you go to the jacket. If it isn't there, you'll let them keep their apartment, but you got to make them put in a real fire escape.
We have other language about previously non-conforming means of egress that they'd be able to utilize also.
This exterior steel wooden stair?
Which one?
Exterior steel wooden stairs? Exterior steel wooden stairs? Exterior steel wooden slide, playroom, kind of have fun. And
That's the pre-existing non-conforming actually because it's enclosed.
it's in the code.
I'm just saying that's where it would be. It wouldn't be.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Not exterior. and
Slidescapes
enclosed,
were in the code for the longest
Yeah,
time.
right.
You can build, there's a whole pitch thing to it and everything.
Right.
So you can't build one today, but it's a one-way system. But this building is a Art Deco building, turn of the century, 1900. These were They have one full set of stairs inside, plus an elevator, plus the slidescape. It's a beautiful building. Inside it's gorgeous. But they have that slidescape. And they used to have them before. A lot of military used to use slidescapes in the military. Some schools used to have slidescapes. I can't find any. They're gone. They're done. But how about these back ladders that people have inside their closets? An acceptable means of egress?
No.
How about the ladders that they buy for these 2.5 family homes from Jambi Products? 25 stories, you can self-install it yourself, and when you punch it upstairs, the thing opens up. Acceptable as a second means of egress? Acceptable as a third means of egress?
No, not if it's a ladder.
No, third means of egress. Not a second means of egress.
Well, so
Can I put it in for my own safety? Can I use it as a supplemental evacuation system?
Absolutely.
So that's what these are. These are supplemental evacuations. So, just so you know, there's plenty of buildings out there that are going to get transformed. By the way, this is what it looks like in Seattle when you walk down their alleyways. That's a 19-inch by 11-inch high tag. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Firemen in the middle of the night fighting a fire. Can they see it?
Sure.
These tags are for who? Who are these tags for?
Well, they're for the fire department
They're
and
for the fire department.
And the residents.
Not even for the residents. The residents don't care.
No,
This is for the firemen, because you guys are walking around. You'll see this once every 5 years. The tenants, paying their rent, they love the white, but the firemen, this is to make them go in and start fighting fires. You know what I'm saying? But now you put a yellow or a red one outside my window, do tenants care? Then they start caring. You know what I'm saying? So just be aware that right now, if we start the tagging process in your city, and you got yellows and reds, the yellow and red is for you in the line of the sand. The yellow and red is for the tenant who may or may not hold his rent because he sees right outside his window. A tag that says it's working or not working by means of egress. And then as soon as it gets to a white, what happens? It's going to take 3 to 5 years to get that taken. Because this is what you're really looking for. When all hell breaks loose, that's when the firemen need it. Okay, now I'll end it on the load test right now, and we'll just go right into a couple of videos. That a 3x5 or a 3x4. I'm going to use 3x5, 1,500 pounds, right? I can put 10 150-pound people in a 3x5. Can I do this? Is it possible to put 10 people inside a 3x5 platform? These things are overbuilt. Same firemen, most firemen weigh 200 to 300 pounds with all their equipment. Can I put 5 firemen in a 3x5 with all their equipment on weighing 300 pounds apiece? Can I squeeze them into a 3x5? These things are built. They're overbuilt. That's the load test requirement on these things. Okay? So this is when the fire escapes are going to be used. Is they're going to be at night. But in the meantime, prior to a fire, people go out there and smoke. Now that we have smoking laws, where do people go smoke? Outside on fire escapes. So be aware that there's going to be some usage of these things other than just during an emergency. So you guys want to see one of our classes that we did, and that will be the end of the class. And
Anybody that wants to start their pizza, anybody that wants to start their pizza that's paid for their lunch, I guess, can have their pizza and soda while we're watching the video.
Why don't you guys grab the pizza, and then I'll put on the video. Give me a minute, I'll keep it on the video.
Are there plates or anything? Yeah, right over here. We're coming that way. Yeah. We got
Sure. You have my card now. Tom, yeah, what's my card here? Yes, please. Thank you very much. Thank you. because it's galvanize it, prime it, and paint it, and you silicone will shut the joints. It's indefinite. Yeah, if you guys have any suggestions on which way we can go with that, I've got the building commission over here from Lowell. They did a walkthrough, so if you have a chance to watch it for a second, you'll be impressed because our inspectors probably running about 5 inspectors right now in the Boston area, but we use lots of structural engineers to inspect on our behalf because in certain areas we can't inspect. Yeah, we don't have any franchises. We're looking at franchise in our future, but we don't have any franchises. I do a lot of the travel nationwide because this is such a niche market. You know, it's like being a shoe company. Yeah. Well, the main issue is that we tell this to everybody. Boston has 8,500 fire escapes. If you give me a fire escape a day, I can only handle 365. Inspect them, fix them, whatever. What about the other 8,000 plus that's still left? So what this is really is we need to set the bar because as everybody starts jumping into it that wants to inspect and everybody that wants to repair, we're eliminating anybody that's a landscaper cheating the clients because now, which is great, what you just gave me, which is saying that if there's a departmental procedure, it basically says, okay, and a lot of it is just one guy hears the other guy saying it's okay to do. So I'll work with Gordon on that, and then all of a sudden, I thought it was harder. I thought it had to be, nobody ever, in 5 years, nobody's ever told me what he told me. It's either an ordinance or you do it via the, what do you call it, the administrative rule change, which is, it's just it's a million years down the pipe. So I always look for connections and people that know someone that knows somebody to help me because a lot of times there's a little bit of sluggishness that happens. Because this is not my first class. I've done 3 to 5 years of this. I've even done the West, in UMass, I've done UMass, last week I was just in Northhampton. So my classes, every now and then it takes a little time for it to percolate. And this is the wrong time to talk about repairs because the economy's in the tank, and nobody wants to deal with repairs right now. So you need to have this emergency band-aid to say, hey, in the meantime, you're not going to fix this. Well, then order scaffolding or give me
Or lack of it.
repair.
Work is back. Close is gone for 2.5 weeks. Huh? My clerk.